Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Adam, I see you in full Halloween costume mood.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I am here representing Super Grover for this Halloween. So, yeah.
Yeah, I dressed up over the weekend. I was a vampire. But I bought things on Amazon. They didn't fit, and then they were way too white. They made my teeth like they were yellow. And then and so then I went to Walmart and bought some Friday because I was going to a party Friday night. And it was one pack left. And it came like it was like other stuff in there, but you could tell it had been returned because there was
Uh,
tape. But
Oh,
the fangs weren't opened at all. That's all I needed. So I get the things out, put the adhesive on. They don't stick. They stick to my hands though. So no things, no things. But
uh,
but do y'all have any plans for Halloween tomorrow?
so for us, yeah, we're hoping to have some trick-or-treaters. We had pretty much up in the 80s all weekend, and now the
Yeah,
weather's dropping to like the 50s.
same here.
So yeah, it's crazy, but we're hoping we get some kiddos to come by, and yeah, we'll be hanging out for them.
Chike,
yeah.
anything?
No plans for me. I did all my running around this past weekend.
Yeah. I just feel bad. I remember one year, I came home from work and I was literally laying across my bed. I hear my doorbell ring, and I look on the ring camera and I see this little girl dressed up. I turn the camera up and right back to sleep.
Oh, come on, Stephen. Have you no heart?
I didn't have any candy.
You could have found something in the fridge.
I felt that she was all dressed up and all pink. But Adam, on a serious note, we talked about this in Hot Topics about the passing of Matthew Perry. What were your thoughts on his passing?
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. I remember I was at a Halloween party actually when I read the news over the weekend. Yeah, 54, so young. So it's tragic and it's kind of sad. And I know a lot of people are coming with the outpouring. And he was a really good part of Friends. I think he was my favorite character over the series.
He
So
would be sarcastic.
yeah, I guess it just runs in the blood. But yep, yeah. So yeah, it's sad to hear, and it's crazy to think again. It can happen at any time. And I know he had a history with drugs and everything already. But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, definitely. All right, well, I'll let you all take it away with movie reviews.
Sure thing. So I got around to seeing two things over the weekend. The first is the latest Netflix film, Pain Hustlers. And this stars Emily Blunt, Chris Evans, Andy Garcia, Catherine O'Hare, and this follows the story of some drug sales reps and a drug company that starts to sell fentanyl to help with cancer patients, and it's a under the tongue spray that they've marketed and started to kind of grow into this whole series. And along the way, we learned that, and this is, I should say, this is nothing new. We've seen Dope Sick, we've seen the other Netflix series about the Sackler family. Um, the opioid crisis is kind of front and center in a lot of the news, so we're well aware of this. This is nothing new in that sense. But the story is based on real events and a real company that did have these practices, which we learned with the pharmaceutical industry, where they have sales reps come and they either kind of do a kind of a pay system, maybe some under the table things. And what this company did was they were really big on the speaker program, which is they paid a doctor to come out and speak to other doctors to promote their drug, and get everyone to sign up and start promoting this type of fentanyl medication for cancer patients. And of course, as we know, with all these companies, then they want more money, they want more commissions, and they start doing off label where they're starting to recommend it to people with migraines or any kind of other pain as pain relief. And eventually, in the story, it's one person, but in real life, it's kind of based on a lot of people. But Emily Blunt's character will eventually go in, and she's gonna act as the whistleblower. She starts getting conscious and realizing what's happening, and we see kind of the rise and fall of this company along the way. Uh, So I would say, it's a fine watch. Again, if you've seen the store before, you've had your fill on all these kind of stories with Dope Sick and other things, and those are better on that sense. Then you're not getting anything new with Pain Hustlers. But I will say what was really good is Emily Blunt does a great job. Actually, the whole cast does a great job. They really did. They kind of give it their all. You can really feel the characters, and this is star power here. We have Chris Evans, we have Catherine O'Hara, Andy Garcia. I didn't even recognize him for halfway through the movie because he plays the eccentric owner of the drug company. And then I'm like, this guy is so familiar, and I looked him up, and yeah, Andy Garcia, which I haven't seen in a long time either. So if you have Netflix, you're looking for something different to watch, I would recommend it. But again, you're not getting anything that's kind of breaking ground or giving you any surprises per se.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the next thing I saw, and I usually stay away from the horror movies, but I decided to check out Five Nights at Freddy's. I mentioned this a little while ago, and it's actually streaming on Peacock. So if you have Peacock, they released it in the theaters, and they also released it on Peacock. You can watch this right now. And this is based on a video game from 2014 where there's a security guard, and his job is to watch these. This is like a kind of a Chuck E. Cheese knockoff. These animatronics go around, and in the game your job is to stay alive. So you have a security camera footage, and you have some tools, and you have to keep yourself isolated from the animatronics that walk around at night and are attempting to kill you. So they turned this into a movie, and the movie's a little more fleshed out, of course, and it stars Josh Hutcherson, who, if you remember the Hunger Games series, he stars as PETA, and he is a man with kind of some issues. He's trying to resolve some of his past, and he gets offered this night shift job at this, of course, this Freddy Fizzbomb, the Chuck E. Cheese ripoff. And while he's there, he has to kind of learn about what's going on with the animatronics, and his little sister comes along too, and that's when things kind of get a little creepy. Actually, it gets creepy the whole way in. So again, for me, I'm not used to the horror genre. I think you know what jump scares you're getting, knowing the creepiness you're going to get into these types of movies. But I will say it's a fine movie. They, I think it dips a little bit into the lore of like why these animatronics are possessed or why they're evil or why they're moving around. But we don't really dig too much into it. It jumps into more of like, okay, let's throw all these characters into this creepy situation at a abandoned fun center and have the animatronics come to life. And I think again, I've never played the game, but I think they did a great job of like having the faithful representation of these characters. And yeah, I thought it was fun. Again, if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan already, you're gonna love this movie. It's gonna hit all the marks for you. And if you're looking for an easy kind of, this wasn't too scary, wasn't like over the top. It wasn't like anything that I'm gonna, hopefully have nightmares about. But it's I think worth a watch if you like that kind of genre.
Was it comedic scary at all? Was it like kind of
So I think it tried to be, but for me, nothing was like that silly. And I mean,
okay?
the animatronics, there's a bear, there's a rabbit, there's a fox, there's a little chicken, or a chick, and I guess it could be funny in some senses, but yeah, I don't know, and maybe that's where I missed the mark too of understanding, like were they trying to be like one of those horror scary or horror comedy things or like cheesiness. I couldn't tell. I think they had a story and then they had a premise, and it scratched the surface of all of that without actually giving you too much.
Okay, all right. Well, I too stuck with the horror genre and saw a film called The Devil's Workshop. It's streaming now on Amazon Prime, and it stars Timothy Granaderos, Jada Mitchell, and Emil Hirsch. And one thing about Emil Hirsch is he has a way of starring in certain films in these small roles, but the film itself is very poignant. And I've just been noticing that in his trajectory. So I kind of pay attention to when he's in a film, and especially if he's not starring in it. It just makes me have more interest in it. Like, why did he pick that? Because he's an excellent actor, and I do trust his judgment. So
Hmm.
this film is a story of a desperate and starving artist who's navigating his starving artist career. And basically, he comes across a role to play a demonologist. And Emil Hirst's character is like his arch nemesis when it comes to acting. They're both in the same acting class. And Emil Hirst's character has had early on success, like when he was a kid. So he's kind of known in the industry, but he's also like the biggest dick. But, people know his name. And so that's his like arch nemesis. And he's up for the role of the demonologist along with Emil Hirst's character. So basically, he decides to go seek out a real demonologist to get some education and to go through some type of boot camp and how to do an exorcism. People, I'm gonna just say this. I don't play with the tarot cards and the soothsayers and the people that are going to read your fortune or look through a crystal ball because a lot of the stuff is fake. But you have some people out here who are very gifted in that realm. I don't play with that stuff. No one's going to pray over me or do anything on me or to me without my knowledge of what's going on. And this man in this film went down a dark road for the sake of his art, and it didn't end too well. It wasn't
Hmm.
such a good time for him. The movie was actually pretty good, and it kind of reads in a poetic sense in how far would an artist go for your art? How far is too far? What is your sacrifice when it comes to achieving your goals and your dreams? How far will you go? It's pretty
All right.
interesting.
Yeah.
Check it out. Amazon Prime.
And I do like Emil Hirsch. You're right. Like, I don't think we see him enough, but when we do, it's really good.
And his acting in this is really brilliant. When you'll totally get this as an actor, Adam. You'll totally get it. So if you watch it and you see his delivery of his character and where he's going with it, he's brilliant. And then please watch the credits. If you watch the movie, watch the credits as it's the out credits because there's scenes with him on his smartphone being in character. Like on like kickback time as that
Yeah.
character. It's pretty interesting. Pretty
Fun.
interesting.
Yeah.
So check it out. It's a pretty interesting film. I don't know necessarily that you'll be surprised, but the storyline is pretty deep.
Nice.
Oh, and I'm watching Gen V. The finale's coming up, and it came up pretty fast. But that's what happened when shows are really good. They tend to they burn through a season.
Hmm.
Uh, the morning show, of course. Watching Goosebumps on Hulu and Delicate on the FX.
Awesome. Your morning show is good again. Does it never
Mhm.
doesn't
Yes,
fail.
Steven, I'm still waiting for you to send me that login.
Not on air.
Yeah, send it to me afterward.
And then Big Brother getting down to the final five. And this one lady, they call her Mama Fee on there. She's probably the oldest woman there. She's probably in her late 50s. But she's lasted this long. She's been on the block 6 times. But she always comes off, is able to come off the block. But it's time for her to go now. Because she's playing a messy game. Playing a messy game. And I like her, but it's time to go. Time to go. But yeah, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for Big Brother. But I didn't watch anything really other than Morning Show and Big Brother. But anything coming down the pipeline you are excited about?
Nothing really. The Killer, that movie I mentioned, the David Fincher movie, is coming up soon. And actually, I read online, and it's so crazy these schedules of Five Nights at Freddy released the same day on Peacock, or roughly the same day on Peacock. But it was the number one movie in the box office over the weekend, so people are going to the theaters again. This movie released just recently, but it's also just going to go to Netflix in like 2 weeks. So, that's the whole conundrum. Do I just wait it out? Do I go in? We'll see. I think some movies are worth going to the theater for, and some just happen to come right into the streaming so soon. So that's on my list.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
you
I
get
don't have anything on my list just yet. I'm
all
not
right.
looking at anything in particular.
Well, thank you for letting us know what to spend our time and money on, what not. Have a great week. We'll see you next Monday.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.